animators. So today we will be looking at all the files of this animation which you guys just saw, and I will be showing you guys from version 1 to the last version, and we will see how I progressed with each version. And you guys will also see how my blocking of this animation looked, and later how I stepped up, how I progressed, how I made camera, and what details I made first and what details I made later. So I think if I show you guys each version, there are around like 28 versions of this file, and we will open up each version and we'll see. So here you guys can see this is the version 1 of this animation. There is no detail in this animation. It's just I was in the beginning, when I thought that I want to make this animation, the only thing I had in my mind was that I want one dinosaur to hold another dinosaur and throw him away and then roar. This was the only thing in my mind. So the main dinosaur, I choose this one, the Spinosaurus. I really love this dinosaur, and I my favorite film, Jurassic Park 3. You guys must have seen him. So I really like this dinosaur, so I thought, okay, so this will be my main dinosaur, and he will be throwing away a smaller dinosaur. So I chose Irex. So right now you won't see Irex for next few versions because that's a secondary dinosaur. First I wanted to make the basic the blocking of this dinosaur, and I want to be sure that how this dinosaur will react. So this is the first version. It's very basic. I haven't set any camera also. You guys are just seeing the perspective view here. And now I will just go ahead and I will open up the second version of this file, second version. And okay, so yeah, here you guys can see in version 2 I already set up a camera. I was ready to see this animation from a camera. I was not ready to waste time on perspective, and then in the end I will set up a camera. I wanted to just work from one camera, and I want my animation to look good from that one camera only. So then I set up this first camera, and I also block out the first camera, and I did a little bit more detail in the dinosaur animation also. So I decided that the dinosaur will walk couple frames. Here the dinosaur will throw away the other dinosaur, and then Spinosaur will roar. So this was my second file. As you guys can see, it's just a blocking of the camera and the blocking of the dinosaur, and super basic animation, not much detail, just for me to understand what I want to do. So now I will just go ahead and open up my third version. So this is the third version of my animation, and here you guys can see I'm trying to refine the timing of this animation. I'm just trying to figure out how much time do I need to make this animation, and how the weight of this dinosaur will react to the timing. And so I think here you guys can see the timing is from frame number 1 to frame number 160. So I was thinking maybe 160 frames will be enough. So, and I did this super basic animation. I'm not even concerned about the hands, tails, and the secondary thing. I'm not concerned about that. I'm just trying to finalize the main movement of the dinosaur. So now we'll go ahead and open up version 4. Okay, so in version 4 you guys will see a little bit more detail than older version. I am already starting to work in the front body, and I already realized that I need 200 frames to do this animation. This animation need at least 8 seconds, and I kind of finalized my foot placement and how the camera will react, and how, and like the overall basic movement of the shot I kind of realized here. And now I will open up my version 5 of the animation. So in version 5 I already started doing a little bit of extra animation, and as you guys can see I did very stupid animation in the tail just for me to understand what kind of tail animation do I need. And I'm already starting to do a little bit of finger animation on the foot, and just simple, and I'm still blocking out and just trying to figure out how I want to see the animation. And now we'll open up version 6. So this is version 6 of the animation, and I think in this animation I started kind of finalizing what I want to see. And there is a good enough detail in the feet, and there is a good enough detail in the body weight. I think the longest time I took was to fix the weight of the torso, and that was the hardest part. Like I it need to move nicely with the feet, it need to move nicely with the weight. So I was kind of confused that what kind of animation do I need to see in that. So here I think I'm still trying to figure out the camera animation and the overall body animation, and I'm just trying to add up a little bit more detail in the overall body. And now we'll go to version 7. Here in version 7 I think I did a little bit more detail in the neck, also the timing of the roar, and uh, I'm kind of finalizing the how the roar should be looking and how the body should be looking. I think we should just move on to the next version. This is just more polished version of version 6. So now we'll move on to version 8 and we'll see what difference do we see in version 8. Okay, so in version 8 you guys are seeing I turned on the texture of this dinosaur, but I don't think we need to see the texture. So I will just press 5 and we'll see only the gray shaded, so that we can remain consistent in all versions. And in version 8 again I think I did a little bit more animation in the tail, so you guys can see the tail is also animated. But this animation is not the final, this is just a kind of follow through of the tail, and just I want my eyes to feel good looking at this animation, so I did a little bit animation on the tail. And so you guys can see that the kind of body animation is kind of reaching to the to a good level. And now my neck and my face, the face of this dinosaur and the hands and even the tail need to be polished. But I think let's move on to the next shot, what I need to do in next version. I'll open up version 9. So this is version 9, and I added the second dinosaur in version 9. And you guys can see I didn't do anything in that dinosaur, I just placed on his feet. So the important thing is I needed to make sure how I want to move that dinosaur. I need to make sure how I want to control that dinosaur, the second dinosaur, and what workflow do I need to use. This was the biggest challenge in this animation. So I experiment a lot with locators, and I try to make my own system of working. And so I think this was the first version where I started doing that. So now we will move on to the next version, which is version 10. So here is version 10, and As you guys can see, I did a little bit more detail in the Irex and a little bit more detail in the Spinosaurus also. I'm trying to figure out how I want to see this animation, so it's just more detail. No animation in the hands, no animation in Irex hand or tail. Just trying to figure out the main movement of the Irex and Spinosaurus. And now we'll open up version 11. So this is version 11. Okay, so in version 11 you guys can see 11 there's even more detail. I started experimenting with the neck muscles, neck skin of the dinosaur, and how I want to see that part. I also started doing more I try to figure out how this Irex will lag on the when the Spinosaurus will pull. So I kind of started figuring out how I want to see the Irex here and how I want to see the Spinosaurus. We'll just move on to the next version. It's just more polished version of version 10. This is version 12. So again, like just a little bit more detail. So what you guys will see in next coming files is even more polish, like, and that polishing will be very small, that it will be invisible in the next versions. So there is no point of seeing each and every version after version 12, because now I will be just polishing the camera animation, polishing the Spinosaurus animation, and polishing the Irex animation, and this polish will take the most of the time of my animation. And like if I open up the second file, I'll just show you guys, and version 13. So in version 13 I place some background elements. I already started doing some camera detail, and I already started working on the tongue and some little bit of behavior of Irex, and so it's just a little bit more detail. And so this polish will keep happening. I will keep polishing, and I will reach to the last version. So I will just skip all other version because they are just experiments. They are just I will try to experiment how I want the facial roar to look, and when the dinosaur is roaring, I will experiment how the body should react, how the neck should react to the roar. And it's a long process of experiments how I want the whole animation to look. And I will say that this 13 versions only took like 2 or 3 days, and the main part of this animation was this polishing. And because I have to figure out all the things, and I wasn't using any reference for this, I was just trying to experiment with my mind, and I was checking out how well animation I can make without any reference. I'm not saying that don't use references. I think reference is a very important thing, but for me I just sometimes experiment to see how well I can animate without reference also. But there is no need of not using reference is a positive thing to use. And I will say that this is not a good thing of me that I experiment like this. So now I will just open up the last version of this animation, and it is version 30. And so this is the version 30. This is the last version of this animation, and this is the same version which you guys saw when this is the main version of the animation which you guys saw. And so yeah, this is the final animation. And so in this animation you guys can see I did a lot more detail in the tail animation. There was some breakings was happening in the tail, but I kind of thought this is just a animation for the reel. I don't need this animation for a film or something, so I just ignore. It didn't matter. And the shake in the neck, I had some controllers in the neck, and I animate all those controllers one by one separately to give that nice y- shakiness in the neck when he's roaring. And also like I the in hands is just a follow through, and when he's roaring I decided to place his hand down, and when he placed his hand down, his shoulders felt the weight, because his hand was certainly carrying the weight of the body. And also like I kind of spend a lot of time trying to figure out what kind of roar do I want to say. And I also imported I downloaded some Spinosaurus roars, and I placed them into the sound section, and I try to listen this roar, and I try to animate the animate the face according to that roar, so that I can feel that energy coming out of him. And then I realized that the roar need to come from his tummy. I need to start the roar from the tummy, that the shake first, a shake happen in tummy, and then waves go till the mouth, and then from mouth he will roar. So there there was a lot of things I planned in this. And also in Irex, I in the secondary dinosaur, I I kind of went back and forth. I was thinking maybe this will work, maybe that will work. So then I thought that okay, maybe I will let his legs go up and then down, like here you guys are saying, and then he will just throw him there. It was an option that the Irex will fall there, and maybe he will keep breathing, or he will do some movement in his head. But I don't want it to do extra work on that. I think for me that dinosaur was is done. I after the Spinosaur throw that dinosaur away, for me that dinosaur was dead. And so here in this file you guys can see I work on each part separately, and I try to do as much detail as possible in each and every thing. I also consult with many of my co-workers, my fellow animators. They give me very nice feedback. They also give me very nice ideas, and very big thanks to them. And so yeah, this is the last file, and I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you guys think about this, and happy animating.